Hey, PotsFan092 here with the anticipated RNG abuse video tutorial for Pokemon Black and White. The method I'm going to outline in this video is the C-Year method for capturing legends and wild Pokemon, which if you did any 4th generation abuse you'll find familiar because of the use of concepts like delay. Let's start by collecting the necessary materials. First, go download the latest RNGreporter, courtesy of Mingot and Omegadonut. You'll also need the last 6 digits of your DS's MAC address. You can get this by going into the Wi-Fi settings of your DS by using any Wi-Fi compatible game. Now you need to download ToastPlusOne's EonTimer if you use Windows and ZomgTimer if you run anything else. Because I'm running Windows Vista, I'm going to be running EonTimer. Finally, because the PID RNG plus the RNG that determines nature and all that other stuff is now timed for C-Gear abuse, you'll have to grab a synchronizer of the desired nature for your target. This means you might have to redo a successful IV abuse because you had the incorrect nature. Fortunately, there are ways of controlling the nature and alternative methods of RNG abuse, but that is the subject of another video. Okay, now that we have everything, let's run a search. Open RNGreporter and click on Time Finder. Click on Method 5, C-Gear. For a tutorial, let's go with the easiest case we can, so set the max frame to 8. This will ensure that you won't need to advance the IV RNG too far later on. Because we limited ourselves with the frame, it would be best to have a wide range of delays. I tend to set the minimum for 1800 so I don't have to rush too much. Set the max as high as you would like, but I picked 9999 because that's like the number everyone else uses. Put the last 6 digits, no hyphens, in the DS MAC address field on the right. Select your version. If the RNG Reporter version you're using only has a Japanese option like mine does at the time of filming, don't worry about it. Now set your IV criteria. I'm looking for a HP Ice 70 Virizion. How do you even pronounce these names? So I changed the fields accordingly. Once you're set up, go ahead and search. This is going to take a while. Okay, the search is done. Now here's a key fact. For C-Gear abuse, the starting frame is 3. So any results you get for frames 1 or 2 are unusable with this method of RNG abuse. Because I don't feel like advancing the frame to 8 by walking 128 steps with 5 Pokemon in my party, I'll take the frame 3-1. For the record, if you want to advance your frame, that's the method you would take. You would walk 128 steps with however many frames you need to advance. That's how many Pokemon you would have to have in your party. Okay, back to what we're doing. Right-click the result and hit Generate More Times. I have a preference for 59 seconds, so I'll check the box next to the seconds field and input 59. You don't have to do this, however. You can pick any of the displayed times. Make sure your MAC address digits are inputted too. Now set the delay and second ranges. Set the delay to plus and minus 999 and the seconds to plus and minus 9. This will ensure that you'll be able to find any missed attempts later on. Now hit generate. Now we configure EonTimer or ZomgTimer depending on what you're using. Now we're going to set up initial conditions for some quick calibration. The default is negative 95. Leave it there. Set the seconds and delay to that of your target spread. Now it's time for me to do some of this live. Alright, hey guys, now set up your EonTimer, according to the information that RNGreporter tells you based off your given seed. This particular seed requires a delay of 6,485, and because I set my seconds to 59, I'll punch those into EonTimer. Now on the left, it'll say minutes before target, and right now it says 2. So we had to take our current time, which is 20:56:59, and go to our DS here. And because it says 2 minutes before, and the target's 20:56:59, you just subtract 2 minutes. So, excuse me while I do that. And gotta get on the right date too, which is May 28th. Okay, so 20:56 minus 2, so 20:54. Now, we had to start the timer and set the DS clock at the same time. And then when this timer here, which has 6901, when that hits 0, you want to load your game in your preferred method. For most of you, this will mean soft resetting. For me, because I'm using an action replay to check IVs, I'm going to hit the red start button when this hits 0. So I'll get back to you guys when this, well, first let's start the timer. Okay. See, now the timer's running, and now I've got to get this thing loaded up so I can hit the red start button when this hits 0. I've got a lot of time though, so not a huge rush. I'll get back to you guys when the second timer's running. Okay, so I hit the red start button when this thing hits 0. So now it's starting the delay timer. Now, as you see, my game's loading. Now the idea here is that when this timer hits 0, we start the C gear. Now you gotta pay attention to this now. See how you're on this screen? It'll ask you to start the C gear. Don't do it. This causes inconsistent timing for some reason, so just don't do it. Which means that if you aren't gonna do it that way, you're gonna have to do it by hitting this little button right here, and then come on, hang on. See, now you got the C gear prompt, and you want to hit yes when this hits 0. So, you know, this is kind of hard to do while filming, so I'm gonna do this off screen. Excuse me. Alright, I'm back. Now, I tried to start the C gear as the timer hits 0. So, now there's really not much left to do except make sure your synchronizer's in the front, and we'll go talk to Virizion, so excuse me. These things have the coolest opening of any legendary, in my opinion. Yeah, that's right, go Ralts. Alright. And, I'm gonna be stupid lens cap. I guess I'll be throwing a master ball just to make this easy myself. Okay, so now that we've caught it, we need to check its IVs, because that'll allow us to see what seed we did hit. So we're gonna go here. If you're not using an action replay, you should familiarize yourself with how to check Pokemon's IVs, which usually involves a lot of rare candies or else training them and keeping track of the EVs. But that's not the subject of this video, so you can deal with that. Not my job. Okay, so it's got timid and capable of taking hits, so this might actually be a semi-decent Virizion. Now, I'll check the... Yeah, so 26, 9, 31, 25, 24, 3. So this is actually a crap Virizion, but who cares? So we're gonna go over to RNGreporter. Back to this window. Click Search IVs. Now I'm gonna go punch in the IVs that my action replay told me. So 26, 9, 31, 25, 24, and 3. There. So it found it. Delay 6424, which is what, about 61 delay before my target. So we're gonna repeat this a few times, and once you start getting a consistent amount as far as like how much before your target delay you are, what you're gonna do is you're gonna take the minus 95 and subtract the amount that you're ahead by. So I would take, in this case, 95 minus what was it, 61. So I'm gonna get like what, 157 or something like that. So it's gonna be minus 157. That's what I'm gonna put in EonTimer. And if I end up after my target, I'm actually gonna subtract from the absolute amount. So if this were like 61 after, I would take 95 minus 61 and get minus 34. It's pretty logical. So I'm gonna do this a few times and I'll get back to you. Okay, so I found I was averaging about 66 delay before my target. So I'll take the regular minus 95 and subtract another 66 to get negative 161, which will be my new calibration from now on, so you don't have to redo this process every time you RNG just for the first time. Alright, now it's time to do the thing for real. Using pretty much the same procedure as I outlined before, I'll show you one attempt at catching Virizion, and if that doesn't work, then I won't show the after attempt since it's the same thing. It's just one will be successful. So, yeah. Alright, now here's the real attempts. Got my timer set up. Got my DS set up at the target time -2 because EonTimer told me to. Now start the clock, start the timer at the same exact moment, so excuse me. Okay, timer's running, so now to load up the action replay. Okay, so I hit the action replay when this thing hits 0. So that means, just like last time, I need to start the C gear when this timer hits 0, which is going to be rather time intensive. But fortunately, EonTimer, I think you'll find, is more precise than PikaTimer. I don't know why, but I tend to hit my delays more often with this timer. So, I'll get back to you guys after I start up my C gear. Okay, now I started up my C gear hopefully at the same time that the timer hits 0. Now, a little warning beforehand. If you don't get the nature you want, by chance, what you should do is on every successful IV abuse attempt afterwards is, like, before talking to it, save like once on the first time, twice on the second failure, 3 times on the third failure, so on and so forth. Because every time you save, it advances the nature RNG by 1. Alternatively, you can just let the DS sit there because the C gear advances the nature RNG by approximately 1 every second. So just vary the amount of time and you won't get the same nature each time. So anyways, nothing left to do. Okay, so let's check the IVs of this thing. Okay, so it's timid and alert to sound, so that's really not a bad start. Oh my god, would you look at that first try? 31 to 30, 31, 31, 31. Now, usually this takes like, a couple tries because sometimes the synchronizer doesn't always work, but hey, what do you know, I got lucky. And it also seems like I got pretty lucky with my delay. Although, like I said, EonTimer is really precise, so thanks ToastPlusOne, that's a good program. Yeah, so that's that. If you have any questions, you should head on over to Smogon.com and then go into the Wi-Fi forum. There's a 5th generation help thread. You can also message me, but I'm really busy until like late May because, senior year in high school is kind of like that. So, yeah. And to those of you who are going to the 2011 VGC Nationals in Indianapolis, this is what I look like. So, yeah, this is roughly, I don't know, I'm gonna look kind of like this when we meet up. So, probably be taking a friend, maybe my girlfriend, but I doubt that. And that's about it. So, happy RNGing, hope to make more videos in the future.